Hey, what's up? I'm Pascal from Orangepixel. Welcome to another video. I have a certain amount of tasks that I have been pushing forward and forward into oblivion this week. My goal is to fix them. And to force myself in doing that, I'm taking you on that trip during this week. It's now Monday afternoon. Monday mornings, my wife and I grab all the groceries from the supermarket for the whole week, so we don't have to go out. We still go out the door, but we don't have to. That means the rest of the week I can work on my games and projects and everything else. So on Monday afternoon I usually do admin type thingies, but I don't have any admin type thingies at the moment. As far as I'm aware, I'll check my email just to make sure, but I think I have nothing. So I can dive into the first project that I have just been pushing away for unknown reasons. That project is Gunslugs, the HTML5 version. It's up and running. It has been for a few months now. I need to push it to Pokey. That's the first service I'm gonna try, Pokey. I have the account all set up. I can push games there. I just haven't done it. So I figured that's a great first task to start this week after the intro. And again, I'm pushing it forward. First doing an intro, but I should do it. I'm gonna do it after the intro. So Gunslugs originally developed and released in 2012 on iOS, Android, Ouya in those days. It was one of the launch titles back then, I think. Released since on PS Vita, 3DS, Switch, PC, Steam obviously, iArcade, a lot of other devices that are long gone, but the game is still going strong. The web version has been released many years ago on Chrome OS, which isn't really a thing anymore because now it runs Android versions. It also been released on Firefox OS, which isn't a thing anymore because it died. So it has gone through a long journey. Actually, a few months ago, it got released on a Mega Drive version, thanks to a buddy of mine who created that version for actual Mega Drive, and it's released physical form. You can find it. I'll look it up somewhere and put it on the screen now. Interesting. So Gunslugs basically is my little go-to game if I want to try new platforms. And we're now going to try Pokey. For me, Gunslugs is a safe bet. It doesn't have to make money. It's just for me testing the waters, see how it all moves and works and happens. So Gunslugs 1 and 2, very safe bets for me. I can't lose money on this. The games are already running. I just have to push releases. So let's do that. So this is the web version. This is running in a browser right now. I can click here full screen and have it smaller, have it big screen. It's really the same game as released on PC and mobile. So the code runs in JavaScript, very simple, straightforward. It's a little bit outdated JavaScript, but it runs and it works, and the game runs very smoothly and everything. Sound effects, music, it's all there, which is pretty cool. The first thing I have to do, however, is protect my code a little bit. So right now my code is, like I said, this is ancient code. If you're a game developer, if you're a JavaScript programmer, don't really look at this. It's messy, it's ugly, it's old. It runs the game, that's the important part. But as you can see, this code is just text files, and that's the problem with JavaScript. It's text files. Even on the web version, you could in theory just read all of this, find all of this, use it, reuse it, repackage it, and whatever you want to do with it. So I have to pack this all up. Now luckily there are some tools for this. From the Discord I was pointed towards Terser, and another one is Uglified.js. I believe from what I did very little research, just a little bit. Terser seems to be the better one, so I'm going with that one. What it pretty much does is shrink your code and make it almost unreadable. Just a command line tool, we'll run it on the code, and we'll have a version, a single file that's just a messy but working version of the game. Now, of course, you never stop all the bad elements in the world, and there will be people that will be able to hack this or use it or repackage it or whatever. Not my main problem right now, not my main worry, but also not at the level that I think I'm going to make it easy for them. So the first time running it, after that we have this garbled mess of a code file. This is all one single file, 321 kilobytes of no line breaks anywhere, just messy code, which was honestly already messy because I wrote messy code, but it still runs. It's just a lot harder to debug or to change things in this. So now we have something that I can safely distribute to a website. I'm gonna look at the various options I have. I think I can make this even more messy as it is. I just have to see what the options are for the tool to minify it even more. I see a lot of names that I think could be stripped and renamed to just one single character. We'll see if that's an option for this minify tool. And the next step is look at Pokey and see what they need me to upload. Probably some sort of zip file. Which I think will be easy to do, and maybe some artwork. So it's time to look at all that and then upload this game on there and see what the next step is. I uploaded about 7 different versions to the Pokey site. We're now a few hours later. Had to implement the Pokey SDK. Didn't really think about that, but I had to do that. Luckily, it's an extremely easy thing to do, and that was surprising, still is. A few lines here and there, and we now have integrated reward videos into the game. Already had certain spots where I could easily add those to Gunslugs 1. Have to figure that out for Gunslugs 2 as well. But it was fairly easy. I also managed to pack it all up even smaller. So we're now at 260 kilobytes for all the code. And of course the assets, the graphics, the music, sound effects, all that. It's a nice, neat package. It's now on Pokey, it's not live. I have to go through a couple of tests where they show the game to players who will then test it. I can then show or see videos of them playing it. Somehow I got a couple, but all the video screens are black. Just had brain fart with my last sentence, and now I just had to check something. I think I'm not seeing stuff because my game Gunslugs does not run on WebGL, and their recording is probably fetching the WebGL stuff, OpenGL stuff from the graphics card while I'm using Canvas. I think that's the problem. So I can see people clicking on things, but I can't really see the game being played. Now, I don't really need to test that because this game has been live on so many platforms for over a decade. It plays well. Right now, it's just about the ad integration, and it's in the game. I'm gonna run a few tests myself, just a few playthroughs on the Pokey site. Pokey, funny name, on the Pokey side, and then I'm gonna submit it to them for a WebFit test, and they will see how it works and evaluates its potential on Pokey. So I guess that means the game is ready. I should push that button, and we'll have to see what Pokey thinks about the game. If they don't like it, I'm gonna move to Crazy Games, which is my second one on the list, and after that we'll see how this goes. Not sure, this is just out of my hands now. I'm gonna send it to Pokey, and I think that pretty much ends my Monday admin stuff. Tomorrow I'll be diving back into Regulated City. Hopefully before Thursday we'll have a little update. If not, I'll update later on this channel if I actually have something to talk about. But for now, Gunslugs web version, check it off my to-do list. It's done, it's ready, I'm ready, just have to wait for Pokey. Whew, see you on Tuesday. Tuesday morning starts off a little different. Doing Gauntlet of Power first. I wanted to update the demo. I've been pushing new updates to the full game. The demo is still stuck in 3 or 4 versions before that. So pushing a demo, while doing that, also came to the conclusion that the last patch of Gauntlet of Power that I pushed last week, the new unlockable character was automatically unlocked. A single line of debug code I forgot to comment out, so that's removed. I updated that version as well, so the new rogue character is now locked and you have to unlock it. And now also pushing a new demo to Steam, so that's now also available. Gunslugs, I pushed it to Pokey live yesterday. I got a message, they're now gonna push it to a test audience of 10,000 people. They expect this test to take 2 to 5 days, which I find impressive. 10,000 people in 5 days will be looking at Gunslugs, depending on how they enjoy the game, play it, how long they play it maybe, I'm not sure. Based on that, we'll see if it gets on Pokey. So that's the update for Gunslugs. Gonna push this demo live just now, push a couple of buttons on Steam, and then I'll dive into Regulated City. So the plan for Regulated City is level editing. Yeah, just not the most fun job I have for the game, but it needs to be done. So the game's levels are split up in certain categories. So we have apartment buildings, scrapyards, industrial, airfield, hospital, parks and banks. Now I use all the same type of furniture in these levels, so the variation isn't extremely huge, but this gives me a little bit of a guideline of the type of level I should be creating. So living rooms happen in apartments, while they don't really happen a lot in scrapyards, and there you get a lot of, well, scrapyard type stuff, so old vehicles, containers, you name it. It just gives me a little bit of a guideline on what a level should focus about. So right now I have 2 airfields. I created one last week, but I should create a few more. I have only 2 hospital levels, I think. Yeah. And only 2 park areas. I don't really like the park areas, but yeah, they have to be in the game. And this second park area is already better because I added some buildings to it. So I'm gonna try to create some of these. Even though I don't like it, I'm just gonna do it because nobody else does it, I guess. Now, the game engine is mostly designed for interior areas, so this outdoor park area is a little bit stretching the limitations of the game engine I created, but it does work. If you plant enough trees and green stuff around it, it does look like an outdoorsy area, I guess. So I'll just have to make it work. Now, the game plays best if we have these interior areas, so without any logic I'm placing buildings in there and blocking certain pathways so that there is some sort of tactics required and sneaking around is possible, which in just an open park isn't. Also, a problem with this is that it's a lot of open areas in the game and it requires a lot of entities, all these trees and the bushes, all entities, not tile sets. So it is possible that it slows down on certain devices, possibly on the Switch. We'll have to see once that version is up and running. But for now, we'll go with this, and I hopefully can fix it if it requires fixing in the future. I usually design these levels by making a rough layout, just so that we have a path from the start to the finish for the player to move through it. And once that layout is done, we'll start implementing the more interesting things, doors that need switches, switches that open doors, buttons you can press, key cards you need to find, maybe some security cameras here and there that you can sneak past. It's just filling up the area that we now created, and I might move around some walls here and there till eventually we'll have a level that's interesting to play and sneak around in with the current gameplay mechanics. I'm just going to continue ripping up this park area, and then I think today I'm gonna do one more level, so that makes it a bit of a boring day today. I'll just put on some music and start designing a level. There are also a couple of things in the level editor I want to tweak. They are fun to do, but they're not very high priority because I still haven't decided if I'm going to release this level editor with the game or not. But it would be a little fun task in between the boring level design stuff. So I might just do that here and there just to have a little bit more fun this week, or else I'm just going to be designing levels and levels and levels. And I'm not looking forward to that. There's a reason I've been delaying this task. It's now Wednesday morning. And I got sidetracked a little bit yesterday as I decided to change the editor a little bit. I needed a little bit of a distraction. So I started a bank level and started on the layout. But this is pretty much as far as I got on that one. Then I decided to tweak a little bit of the level editor. What that does mean now is that I have to actually complete that level. It's probably gonna take me the rest of the morning. So the bank level is now almost done. Most of the stuff is in there. Just want to add a couple of secrets here and there, ventilation shafts, other hidden areas, and hide some of the items that almost every level has. Now, while I'm creating levels, I noticed a bunch of things in the editor that can be improved. So yes, again, I got carried away and changed a few things in the editor. I can now actually render the lights so that it shows me where the dark areas are. I have had levels that I edited and then start playing them, and then I noticed that I forgot to add lights to certain rooms, and then you have to open the editor again, find that room. Often I would be playtesting something and trying to fix a bug or new feature, and I would forget about it, and then I would run into it again and again and not fixing it. Now that is hopefully all done, as I can now just render these lights in the editor, toggle them on or off, and see if I missed a spot or a room. I also cleaned up a few other things in the level editor, but I couldn't help myself. I might actually use the afternoon to change a few more things in the editor. Although, again, it's not high priority. I'll first do lunch and then I'll see what's on my mind for the rest of the day. Decided to start working on the character because this has been on my to-do list for months. It has to be done. It's one of these big things on the to-do list that I have just not been doing. And since this week is all about finishing those type of things, let's just dive in. The current version of this character's ability, or the dodge move has fists popping around you. It doesn't really move nicely because it also stops you at your spot. It's a nice defense, but it's not really a good dodge move. Now every character also has a special ability. This one just fills the screen with stomping fists. And at some point in this game's development cycle that made sense. But since the game is now more strategic and stealthy, it just doesn't work. I had a lot of ideas from you guys on a few videos ago in the comments. I'm gonna go through that list, see if there's something there that I can work with, and then let magic happen. And hopefully before the day is over, we'll have some new abilities and dodge moves. A few hours later, and I'm very happy that the new ability is now in the game. I decided to go with the fists I had originally, but I tweaked it a lot. So the dodge move is now throwing one big huge punch that will destroy a lot of things in your path. So it's a very powerful dodge move. And the special ability is the fists, but instead of a screen filling sized fist and destroying everything that you see, it now requires a little bit of guiding those fists towards your target. They will hone in on the nearest target, but you can also guide them by aiming at certain things. So it becomes a little bit more usable, a little bit more interaction for the player to control this ability. I think I'm happy with it. I'll have to do some play sessions with this character now just to be sure, play with this character and see if it holds up during gameplay sessions. So I'll do a couple of play sessions in the next coming days. But for now, another huge task off my to-do list. We're getting very close to finishing up this game. Now I still have some time left, so I'm either gonna dive into the level editor or gonna try and fix the bugs I have in the online multiplayer. Because that's still something I'm working on, and I still hope that I can get all that stuff up and running so that we can ship this game with online multiplayer, which would be awesome. Thursday morning, this video has to go live in a few hours, so I only have a little bit of work I can do for this video. I decided to work a little bit more on the editor yesterday afternoon and this morning as well. So we now have a bunch of interesting things. Let me show you. So I decided to also add a little carousel-like thing for all the furniture up there. Previous version you had to cycle through furniture using a key and you had to go one item at a time. But now you can actually quickly pick something from up there. And this is going to help me create these levels a lot faster, a lot easier to find the right type of furniture now. Should have added this a long time ago. I also made it possible to quickly copy certain items, and this was already available for furniture, but you can now really quickly grab anything that's in the map already. Doesn't matter what it is, if it's a tool or a special item or a special placement, that's all now possible to quickly grab it. Also added an undo function. It's still a little bit basic. Not everything gets undone, but most of it does. Ctrl Z will now actually undo a bunch of things. Another lifesaver, because I often had added stuff to a level and then had to remove it and undo it and wish I had an undo function. I didn't, and now I have. So the editor is finally getting user-friendly, which was lacking. And if I'm gonna decide to release this with the game, or maybe an update later on, I need to make sure people can actually use it. And fitting with everything I've done this week, this was one of these things I was pushing forward and not looking into. So I'm glad I tackled that one as well. I'm gonna wrap up the video, but one more thing. I want to show you where the multiplayer version is right now. The online multiplayer. Of course, local co-op already works, but we have online multiplayer semi-working. It depends on which day and which hour of the day it is, because sometimes it bugs out pretty quickly. I have to figure out why. Let me show you where we are now with the multiplayer, and then we'll wrap up the video. So the way my multiplayer is set up is that it's just sending the keys used by both players. And then if I do everything right, the game world is an exact same simulation on both computers. And every game frame will do the exact same thing based on the input from both players. that's the theory. In practice, I'm running against a couple of things that are not synced up. Most stuff is working now perfectly fine, but a few things are just messing up. Let me quickly start a mission. We pick those, and the other game picks the shotgun and the flash grenades. Same thing, I guess. Now all of this is still pretty much in sync. We can start shooting stuff, we can start do things, and it should happen on both screens. So let me look. Both crates are gone. The same pickup is there. This thingy is still here. Let's shoot it. Same worms are spawning. Everything so far is in sync, which is a pretty awesome moment. The problem starts when things start to get out of sync, and I haven't figured out yet why that happens, but every now and then it happens. And that's been my after hours little hobby type thingy, trying to get it up and running, trying to synchronize everything. It's frustrating at times not knowing why the two simulations are not exactly in sync, and nobody can help me on this. Don't even think might be this, might be that. No, this is really code specific. There is something in my code somewhere causing a discrepancy, and it's a lot of work trying to figure it out. But I'm very confident right now. There's maybe 2 or 3 moments where it happens, and I think it's all connected to the same problem. Anyway, I'm sure I'm gonna do another video about that if I ever get it fixed. But for now, I think I'm wrapping up this video. I have to create a thumbnail, do some silly faces, add a background or something and some text on it, and render this video so that it goes live in a few hours from now. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below, come say hi on the Discord, and make sure you check out next week's video. No idea what it's gonna be about, but I'm sure there's gonna be a video. Bye.